I've been in an unending war with the fleas in my house, so
You're still going?
I think we got them. I think we've
Yeah.
gotten them. I went very aggressive with them in the last week, but this has basically been like fighting them has been a full-time job for 5 days, basically.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It is. It absolutely 100% is.
I had my exterminator come out, and they were like $250 for a fumigation, and I was like, that's a lot of money. And he was like, well, if you had just gotten them or just seen them, I kind of see it, but you're only having a few. So he gave me some tips on how to fight them, and I was like, okay. And then basically, I just went to Walmart and got some bombs. So Thursday morning, I bombed the bedrooms. Then Friday morning, I bombed the rest of the house. Then I left all the particulates in the house for like 24 hours, and then I did 5 hours of vacuuming yesterday. Like, just everything got vacuumed. We got a new vacuum because my vacuum died on Wednesday, which made it worse. But yeah, the one thing you need to fight fleas, like 100% need to fight fleas, is a vacuum, and it just croaked. I mean, it was 10 years old, so I get it, but at the same time, it's like I need that. I really need that.
Well, one would say that really sucks.
I mean, we're not doing a podcast tonight. We're done. We're done. Just gonna put my headphones down. I'm gonna walk out my front door, and I'm gonna walk into a fucking lake. It's fucking it.
Time to get your fix. It's a horrible gaming podcast. It's not good, it's not great. Horrible gaming podcast. It's not even what you would call fair. It's really not that good. Horrible Gaming Podcast.
Hello, my name is Zachariah with Old Man Gaming, and you have chosen, for whatever reason, to listen to a horrible gaming podcast. But I am not alone, nor am I ever alone. With me is
Neil, a.k.a. Tiny Wizard.
That was straight up.
That was a journey.
There.
That was a journey.
There had a lot of twists in there.
There was a lot of A's in there. I didn't realize how prominent the A was going to be in all that.
All right. So, yeah, before we get into it tonight, we've got some things to talk about. Not a ton of things. It's been news a little bit dry, so we get to do kind of a little bit of an editorialization. But before we get into it, we got to give some credits. We got to thank the people who helped to make this episode possible. Number one, if you're watching this on YouTube, behind the fancy timestamps, you're going to see fancy graphics. Some of those are ripped directly from the internet, like the dirty thief I am. But the ones that are original and created just for the show are made by Mr. Mark Bell, and we thank him for that. And then, of course, the theme song for this show and all of the shows here at OMG is provided by my brother, the man who makes the music, Nick Van Sliders. We thank him for that.
Horrible Gaming Podcast.
All right, so that brings us to our first segment and our most important segment. That is Fanteraction. That's where us, the co-hosts, talk to you guys, the fans. We read out your comments in all the places we see them and record them. And we riff on them. We respond to you. We just, whatever. We also use one as a talk down. So let's go ahead and get into this. We had a good number of comments, although some of them I don't understand, like this first one. Jason says, have you joined the RDO revolution? I am confused by this, Jason, because I'm pretty sure RDO stands for Red Dead Online. That's how people usually refer to that, but I don't understand the revolution part. Did I miss something in that? So please explain further, my friend, and I will respond to that. I do love Red Dead Online. It is a lot of fun. I wish I could put more hours into it than I do, but I am now in a posse called the Toffers and Crooks Company, and it is three of us. It's Rain Dance, Danny, and Seatown. And basically it consists of me being a psychopath and Danny being a psychopath while Seatown gets upset with us. And it is a lot of fun. A lot of fun. then let's move on to Asylum66. He's back. Thank you, Asylum. He says, wow, Tomb Raider. I wouldn't have guessed you loved it, old man. Alright, so I do want to say right here, I kind of get what you're saying there because I tend to go on about games as service, and honestly, my leanings right now are a little bit more towards kind of like playgrounds and character creation and freedom in gaming and stuff like that. And this is a very linear, narrative-based story. But I gotta say, this one just gets me because it does it perfectly right. Like, it's one of those that, like, you play it for a chapter and you're just sucked into the story and the narrative. The puzzles are never too hard where you're stuck, but they're intriguing and interesting. They have quite a bit of logic to them to where it's never like, why would this still work? Like, there's just a lot of stuff in Tomb Raider that I love. The combat's really good, the gunplay's really good, and the stealth stuff is really good. So I love the Tomb Raider games, man. I absolutely love them. I don't know if it's a little bit of nostalgia because I remember playing it with my brother way back in the day, but yeah, I love the Tomb Raider games. I don't know, Neil, did you ever play Tomb Raider games?
No, I actually on a whim started playing the first of the like most recent trilogy.
That's the one. That's the one.
A couple years ago. I started playing it. I don't know. I just kind of fell off of it. It felt fine to play. Felt all right. I liked it from when I played. It's just something.
You wound me, sir. That was the game for me. That game sucked me in. Like, it immediately drew me in, and I was in. I don't know what it was about that first one, but I was just like,
did you play the other ones?
The old ones?
No, the other two. Not the remake trilogy. Yeah.
Oh, the remake. Yeah, of the remake trilogy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I played all of them. I played Tomb Raider, Rise of the Tomb Raider, and Shadows of the Tomb Raider. Shadows of the Tomb Raider is rough. Rough at best, because they kind of tried to shoe in this half-assed open world stuff to it. And it just like, very rarely will I say this, but it should have just stayed narrative and linear. Should have just stayed narrative and linear. Like, it was one of those where they didn't commit to one thing or the other, you know?
Yeah.
So there's all these weird side quests, and you're like, I don't give a shit about this. This is Tomb Raider. But the second one is an amazing game. Hands down, one of the best. I love that game. Love that game start to finish. All right. Huh. So moving on, Jason then says, you ain't going to upload your Twitch side to YouTube. He is referring to the 330. And no, I don't think I am. I think I'm going to keep it on Twitch on the medium that it is. You can see Philbilly's side on YouTube. I think Philbilly's side is the YouTube side, so I don't want to kind of muddle the waters by having two up. I'd rather have all our YouTube views go to the one to get that video higher. But like I said, you can still watch it on Twitch. It's there for a little while, and I will continue to clip the videos when we do the 330s, so you'll be able to watch it there. The only thing that I upload to YouTube after doing it on Twitch is the Wildermyth stuff. Jason then says, they have been putting a bunch of crap on GWG for a while now. I'm assuming he's referring to games with gold. And yeah, it's been a fucking nightmare. And can I make a statement about that one, honestly? I think it stems from the fact that they don't ever want to redo games in games with gold. And that's a mistake. That's just a mistake. They should go back to some of the good games that they've already done and put them up for another, 2 weeks. I think that's better, but like, they've run out of games. They've done all the games that they've done, at least for like 2 weeks, so there's just nothing for them to put up there,
Yeah, I agree. At this point, enough time has passed to where you should be able to dip back into stuff that's been in the past. But now, of course, if they were like, all right, so now we're just going to restart the entire thing. So the first games that we gave away for free, we're starting from there and we're going in chronological order again. Like, that would be dumb, because at that point then you're not actually offering anything new. But like you was saying there, like, Games with Gold has been garbage for a long time. I cannot remember the last time that I actually downloaded a game from it.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and confess something to you. I am no longer a Games with Gold member, so I would not be downloading anyway.
Yeah.
I cut my Games with Gold, and I cut my Game Pass Ultimate. So the only subscription service that I subscribe to now is Game Pass PC, and it's the best. It's absolutely the best because you get a ton of perks with it that you don't even get with the other Games Pass stuff.
I have Game Pass Ultimate because it came with the Series X. How I did it with the access.
Yeah, that's fine.
So,
I'm not shaming people who still have it. It's just I have moved a little bit more out of that ecosystem. I am in the PC ecosystem now, and it just doesn't behoove me. I tell you, if Games with Gold were delivering some hard titles, I would have reconsidered that maybe. But yeah, I don't play anything on my Xbox anymore, so there's just no point in having it.
yeah.
So let's move on. Jason, once again, Enlisted is yet another boring World War II game. Well, I'm not going to say it's boring, because obviously Asylum liked it a lot, and I'm not going to start a comment fight. But I'm assuming you mean just because it's another World War II game, it's boring. I have not played it. I do want to say, before this comment even came in, I did the research, Asylum. I actually looked up Enlisted. It does look interesting. It's kind of weird, though. It's not on, like, Steam or anything. It's kind of like on its own website, I'm trying to think of a good example, and I'm coming up short. But it's on like its own website, and you go into it and download it from that website and play it that way. And it's just a massive kind of like battles sort of situation. It's a very interesting premise, I think, as far as it goes. It is another World War II game, but they seem to boast larger battles and theater scale warfare. So I don't know. But I did the research, at least.
That's what matters.
Right? The effort. All right, so the next one is Asylum 66, and this comment is going to spawn our talk down. So we're not going to talk about it too much, but he says, please let this year of game... And you know what? I'm not even going to read it. We're going to read it at the talk down. I'm not going to read it twice. It's a redundancy. This one's going to be our talk down. Come back to talk down, and we'll read it there. Then our good buddy William Houen. Hi! Exclamation point. Happy New Year. Let's hope for a better one than the last. I really don't have much to say. I don't look forward to games that much nowadays. In 2021, I've been playing mostly games from years ago, such as Ninja Gaiden, Grim Valor, and Sword Art Online Hollow Realization. Parentheses, I have more than 300 hours into this one, shamefully.
Jesus.
No shame in that, buddy. I don't know if you were around for the episode where I read out my Monster Hunter totals, but no shame in that. And then, anyway, thanks for the show. Thank you for your comment, William. We always appreciate it. I gotta be honest. I never played Grim Valor or Sword Art Online either. So those are two that I don't know anything about, which is rare. But yeah, I don't know anything about that. I know Ninja Gaiden because it's the hardest game ever made on the face of this planet. My brother actually is one of the like 2.22% of people who actually completed the game. But nope, not for me. Too hard.
Sword Art is one of those, unless you've watched the anime, I don't think you'd get much really from it.
Yeah, that's fair. I have this anime chest of stuff that I'm still trying to
I know,
offload.
you've shown me your anime chest.
I used to have a real anime thing, and I just don't watch anime anymore. It just doesn't do anything for me anymore. It's kind of strange. How that works. But
kind of like recently got back into it.
Oh yeah, I thought you were still into it. I didn't think you ever left it.
I never really left it, but like, I'm talking like balls in back into it, you know. Like I would
balls in on the anime.
I from time to time would watch, you know, here and there. Like, I had my main ones that I would keep up with, like My Hero and stuff like that. But now I've gotten to the point to where I'm pretty well caught up on everything and managed to go through like I'm like 750 episodes into One Piece right now. That's a lot. That's an accomplishment.
One Piece is
there.
A real commitment.
That really is a commitment.
I don't have it for that. I used to collect animes. Like, that's what I would do. It's like when I had enough extra money, I would find a new complete series collection and then just buy the whole collection. like right off the bat. I did it with a lot of Gundam stuff. I did it with all the Bubblegum Crisis, Tokyo 2040, like a bunch of animes like that. And I don't know, there just came a point, like I used to just watch it. It was like one of the only things I watched. I just loved them. And then there just came a point where I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like I dropped completely out of it. I don't know what it was. Like the only thing that has survived in me as far as loves of hobbies are RPGs, tabletop RPGs, card games, video games, and then wrestling, professional wrestling. I will watch any and all professional wrestling. Although it has waned because I'm kind of an addict to that. So there was a point where I was like, I'm never going to watch this again because if I watch any of it, I'm going to watch all of it. Lo and behold, I started watching some of it, and now I watch all of it again. So at the disheartening looks from my wife. And then the final normal comment, Asylum66, Sifu looks cool. Like that it will have a hallway scene. Sucks its PlayStation. He's referring to a hallway scene like Daredevil, and they have kind of like a hallway scene in their trailer. It does suck its PlayStation. I do want to point out if your PC, you can get it through the Epic Game Store, which is the subject of our talking today because I'm very unhappy with the Epic Store. And basically, since we didn't have anything to talk about, I talked Neil into making our talking point about the Epic Store so that I could just whine about it. So get ready for that, everybody. But yeah, you can get it on Epic Store when it comes out on February 8th. All right, so that's it for fan interaction, man. Do you want to jump into the talk down?
Sure.
Horrible Gaming Podcast.
That brings us to the talk down. This is where we take one of your comments that we like the best, and we spin it off into a quick talking point, kind of like a 10-minute talking point. And this week we really liked this comment from Asylum66. Please let this year of gaming be better. I say this and I struggle to put together a list I'm excited for. Evil Dead, Texas Chainsaw, Stalker 2, and Doki V. Would like to add Gotham Knights, but I'm scared. So we decided, Neil wanted to spawn this off into a talking point. This was his requested one. So what you got for us, Neil? You said,
well, I mean, we kind of covered it on the last episode, but I mean, I go back through it again. Like we have God of War Ragnarok, that just recently a leak came out that apparently it's coming out in the end of September. But we have that, Horizon Forbidden West, Breath of the Wild 2 ? Whatever the hell we're going to call that, because it still doesn't have a name, but it's coming this year. I had other ones. I just totally blanked.
I mean,
Tiny Tina's Wonderlands,
right.
The Sonic Frontiers,
right. Phil's. We got Dune. He said Dune, and then he said, what was the other one he said? Because he said Tiny Tina first, and then you guys.
We honorable mention the Harry Potter game.
Yes.
Apparently, there's rumors that Final Fantasy 16 is gonna officially release this year, even though it just magically vanished. Yeah, that one I don't believe so much. No. Especially after what happened with Final Fantasy 15, that was started development as a sequel to 13 for shit's sake. Right. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna see that one for a while. But I mean,
there's a lot of games promised to come out this year that look a lot good. Although I will give it to Asylum66. The 4 he named are not even 4 that we mentioned. He mentioned the Evil Dead game, Texas Chainsaw, Stalker 2, and Doki V. So Evil Dead game makes me nervous, Asylum. I'm gonna say that right up front. That one makes me way more nervous than Gotham Knights does, because Gotham Knights might be boring, but it's gonna be fun gameplay. I'll still feel like I got my money's worth out of it, I'm pretty sure. Whereas Evil Dead, the premise of it is something that excites me, because that's the kind of game that excites me, but at the same time, with that lore and the characters they've used, I don't know. It's very tricky to me whether that's going to be good or not. Texas Chainsaw is, of course, basically the way the company is getting around the licensing problem with Friday the 13th game. being shut down. Mm-hmm. That's how they're doing it. And then Stalker 2. I don't know what Stalker 2 is. Do you know what Stalker... No, wait. I think I know what's Stalker 2? Do you know what Stalker 2 is?
All I know is it's a sequel to the original Stalker. I know Stalker is a game that exists, and I think it has something to do with, like, Chernobyl or something like that.
Oh! Okay. No, I remember this. I remember this trailer. Okay. All right. I need to see more of this, because I never got into the original Stalker. So I need to see more of that before I get excited. Doki V looks like an acid trip of a video game. I still have not figured out what the fuck that game is. And every trailer seems to lead me down a different path. The last trailer they released looked like a rhythm game to me. like I am so lost on what that game is. Yeah.
Yeah, we have other things too, like, that wishy-washy may happen. Starfield is still up in the air as to whether or not it's coming out this year.
Nope. Well, yes, and it's going to be shit.
It's still
that
up
was
in
my
the air
prediction,
that it's
right?
going to come out. We'll see. And then Senua's Saga and Nintendo. We all know that Nintendo likes to keep all their shit pretty well relegated to 1 year when they talk about stuff. Mm-hmm. So I feel like the next show that we get from Nintendo is going to be the here's what's on slate for the entire year situation.
Yeah, and we're probably going to see Kirby.
We'll get another surprise as well.
I think we'll see the Kirby Odyssey.
Yeah, that's right. I think that's supposed to come out this year
Which I'm actually kind of excited about that one. I know a lot of people are talking about it.
I'm curious about that one too. And there's an IGN article saying that Mario Kart 9 is in active development, so that could be a thing that happens this year as well. So we will really see how it turns out. I feel like I don't want to. I'm trying to be cautiously optimistic, but I feel like this year might actually be a good year for once.
Yeah, no, it's not going to be.
Yeah, no.
Look, right now, if you had asked Zach from 2 years ago when he started doing this show, and he was in this position right now, he would be like, this is going to be the best year in gaming ever. But asking Zach now, who has been jaded and cynicalized by the last 2 years of deep dive into gaming and realizing how shitty the industry is now that he has a podcast, it's going to suck. I mean, I hope it's good. I hope it's great, but like a lot of these, I just don't have any faith that they're going to come out. I feel like it's the beginning of the year, and so we haven't had a lot of time for delays. Like, I don't know. For me, it'll be a good year if even just my games come out. You know?
Right.
Like, it'll be a good year. If even a third of these games come out, it'll be a good year. I feel like we're just going to hit with delays after delays after delays after delays. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm hoping it's going to be better, but I don't have faith in it, Neil. I just don't.
Well, on a great and positive, fantastic note, if you don't have anything else to put into that, I'd probably go ahead to...
I'm probably not in the best frame of mind after the last 5 days for being positive. I should prepare everybody. That should have been a disclaimer at the top of the show. Zach's dealt with some shit, so he is not going to be super happy. And he's not usually super happy, so there you go. All right, well let's go ahead and get into our talking points so I can really get upset. I will say I'm very hopeful. There's a lot of cool games announced that are supposedly coming in 2022. If they do, that's going to be amazing. I think it could be a good year for gaming, but I think 50%. I think upwards of greater than 50% of these games are going to get delayed. Just knowing the game industry and the way they are. I mean, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Who knows? Starfield's going to be a shit show, though. Just saying. All right. So let's move on to the Talk Down.
Horrible Gaming Podcast.
All right, so that brings us to our talking point. I don't know why I'm saying first. It's just our talking point.
Words.
Yeah. So our talking point is this. There's not a ton of news going on. I mean, I've got some odds and ends, but nothing worth a full talking point. So I really wanted to make a discussion of this. And this is kind of a PC gaming conversation right here. But, we've got Steam has been the unchallenged champion of the PC gaming market, really. I mean, there are a couple of, other people in that market, but they're not anywhere near... They're not anywhere near challenging so far. However, Epic supposedly is challenging them. You also have some other companies releasing their own game stores, game fronts. So I wanted to just have a discussion as to whether or not Epic is a valid challenger to Steam, and I also wanted to have a discussion if they're not, which is definitely the answer to that. If they're not, who is, and is there anybody? I just want to have a discussion about that. What do you think about that, Neil?
I think that sounds like a mighty fine discussion.
Do you want me to start?
Yeah, go ahead.
So I can get my rant out of the way? I know I've been talking a lot.
I'm curious to see where this goes.
All right, so the first thing I want to bitch about, and first of all, if you are a friend of mine who knows me personally in any way, shape, or form, like on a day-to-day basis, I'm looking at you, Philbilly330. I am sorry you're about to hear this rant again, because I've already made this rant probably 2 to 3 times to you personally, as well as anybody else who knows me personally as well. But Epic Game Store launched on December 6th of 2018. Okay? It has been around now for 3 years, going on 4. All right? This thing, when it launched, they said right out the bat, we are going to be a challenger for Steam. That's what we're doing. We are a challenger for Steam on PC. That's what we're coming out with. And the way they did this was they bought up a bunch of exclusivity deals. They bought up deals where games would only publish their games on PC on the Epic Game Store first and not on Steam, which is still happening. Epic still has the majority of the exclusives. Now, don't get me wrong, Steam has plenty of games, and they eventually get them all anyway, but Steam doesn't really have any exclusive to Steam games. I think we can both agree on that. Just about everything big name that's exclusive on PC ends up on Epic Games or on one of the individual, this is a console release sort of thing. That being said, other than that, Epic Game Store is a fucking nightmare. 3 years in, it has shit for shit features, and in addition to that, and I want to hammer this home because this is the thing that irritates me more than anything else, and this is the thing that everybody who knows me has heard 6 times. They have no gift cards. None. And I know what you're thinking, who cares? That right there is the reason they're not a valid competitor to Steam. Because nobody can buy Epic Game Store stuff for anybody as a gift. I don't even think there's an infrastructure for it in Epic Game Store for buying somebody else a game. Period. So grandmothers can't even pick up Epic Game Store gift cards for their kids to put in their stockings or whatever. Nothing. There is no way to purchase a game for somebody else on Epic Game Store. Steam has game cards everywhere. Blizz.net has gift cards. Are you kidding me? But Epic Game Store, supposedly the biggest challenger to Steam, doesn't even have a gift card in any way, shape, or form to be able to get. And yes, this is a very personal thing, and I feel personally slighted because most of the games I get through gift card deals that I find on the internet. And I can't get them through Epic. There is no way for me to get money off of my games on Epic, and that's very frustrating. So I don't know. What do you think, Neil?
So what I'm thinking is that the Epic Game Store had the potential to be a competitor.
Sure.
It had the potential. But at this point, what they did is they saw that Steam had no real competition. So they're like, we want to be that competition. Mm-hmm. Fine, fair enough. they bought their way in just to not buy like features or anything like that, but strictly just bought away all the stuff that people wanted to force people to go there. But nobody wants to be there.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's a difference between like, oh, you know, I got a launcher for this, a launcher for this, a launcher for this. Mm-hmm. You know, nobody actively wants to go to the Epic Game Store. Nobody's like, you know, if you're going to go buy a game on PC, everybody thinks Steam, because first and foremost, Steam is the one. It's been the one for a long time, hence why Epic decided to, you know, throw its hat into the ring. Mm-hmm. But they haven't done anything to actually be competitive. They got all the good stuff, but they're hiding it away in their own little sequestered area. So in that regard, they have the stuff, but they don't want to put the features in. They don't want to actually be competitive in a way that is good for a consumer / actually create competition. You're creating a false competition by holding all of the things. It's not competition when you have only one place to go for a thing.
No, and you look at the way. I mean, 100% agree with you. 100% agree with you. They're not competition. In fact, when we get to it, I'm going to make a case as to why there is other competition that's way better off than them, even though they're the only two we hear about from PC. But I'm getting ahead of myself. You look at the way they look at things, their philosophy of things. It's basically like they're just throwing money at the problem. Not only do they have the exclusives, but they also give you the free games. They have pretty good free games that regularly launch on Epic Game Store. They just did one where you could get the entire Tomb Raider trilogy through Epic Game Store for free. It's the free games and then, of course, the exclusives. But they don't put any work into their medium. They don't put any work into their hardware, their software, to make any of it useful. And just the fact that there is no way to purchase, like, if I told somebody who is not a gamer, which I have, and they were like, what do I get you? Get me a Steam gift card, you know? I can't tell them to get me an Epic Gift Store card. And I know that seems personal because I can't get money off games, which is irritating to me. But at the same time, when you look at it from an outsider lens, not just from my personal view, that's a huge miss. The only gift card you can get for Epic Game Store are Fortnite gift cards for Fortnite. That's it. So, like, that right there is a huge loss. And I agree with you. I think that, like, they just tried to buy their way in without putting any work in. And I would understand not having gift cards as this was year one. You know what I mean?
Right.
Or not having the feature. I truly don't believe you can buy a game for someone through Epic Game Store, which that to me is like you're leaving money on the table, you know? But this is 3 almost 4 years in, and you still don't have these features. The Epic Game Store has not changed, with the exception of the games that are in it, for 4 years. Whereas Steam is constantly updating, you know?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, I don't know if you were about to segue into...
Yeah, I was about to segue.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was just going to say who I think could potentially could be that competition.
I think we're on the same page with this, too. I think this is going to be a rare we're on the same page about everything episode, but why don't you go ahead and say who you think could be competition at Epic Game Store?
Well, it could very well be, if they put the effort into it, either like Game Pass for PC or the Microsoft Store. Like, that right there, not only do you already have a storefront for people to buy games, but you also have that connection to Xbox. You have all of those services and everything all interconnected, and that's kind of what Microsoft has done with that to bridge PC more so into the gaming space naturally, especially when you look at like what they have built into like Windows 11. Windows 11 and everything has a lot of gaming proprietary stuff built into it. So you look at that, you look at the fact that they have all this fantastic groundwork, but at the same time, I also feel like Microsoft could give a shit less, because we've had this conversation before. Like, they don't even know what they're doing, I think, just because they don't care. When we've been trying to do Halo Infinite Road, we always run into this issue to where randomly, up until Halo Infinite came out, because I don't think we'll ever have to deal with this problem again, because they basically abandoned the Master Chief Collection once Infinite came out. But inevitably, there would be an update for the game. So we would have to download the update so Zach and I could actually play together to produce the show. And it wouldn't automatically download the update that it told me existed. So in the Xbox Game Pass for PC program, you had to navigate out and into the Microsoft Store to force download the update that you needed to play the game on the other program. Like, if they melded those two things together, they could have a real shot at competing with Steam.
Right.
But I don't know why they just won't do it. Well, haven't done it.
Okay, so I'm going to agree with you a little bit, but I'm also going to disagree with you on some things. I think that Microsoft knows exactly what they're doing, and while you're right, there's some stuff that they have issues with as far as updating and features. I think on the front of providing challenge to Steam, what they're doing is they've set up an infrastructure that's not just like something to rival Steam, but something completely different. It's a completely different choice. It's a completely different philosophy. And a lot of people out there might be like, oh, it's apples to oranges. It's two different things. It's really not when you really look at it. Steam does not charge you a subscription to get on it. You buy the games through Steam.
That's
fine.
Fair.
Microsoft Game Pass, though, has a subscription, and you don't buy the games through it. It's just different ideology. It's the same basic premise. We have these games, they have these games, and that's what you get. Especially when Microsoft sets up this way of like, oh, well, the game's in Game Pass now, but you can buy it for 20% off. And then it leads you into that purchase. It leads you into that, buying it through them, into their ecosystem. They have a much better way of baiting you into it. Do I think that the parity between their Games Pass and their Microsoft Store could use work? Definitely. I definitely agree with you. That needs to be addressed by them. But they have kind of the best of both worlds. Not only do they have the games, like just the basic widespread amount of games, but they also have exclusives. They have console exclusives come out day one for them, and Microsoft has definitely upped their exclusive game to make that actually viable. Epic Store has all the exclusives, but they don't have any of the features, whereas this, and they don't have any way to get their games cheaper. That's something that's still pissing me off. It's like all the Epic Store games I have to buy full price, whereas with Game Pass, I'm paying a subscription, I get the game when it comes out, done, and that beats out Steam, because Steam doesn't really have any exclusives. So, like, you have this kind of, like, best of both worlds with a different ideology. I think that Game Pass is just a big threat to Steam, and I think if Steam's not looking at it that way, and that's one of the reasons I predicted Steam is going to try and combat that. They really do, with some sort of subscription, something, or something to take the juice out of Game Pass sales,
Yeah. If Steam implemented something like just call it Steam Pass or something like that, to where you pay a flat, like, what is it? Game Pass Ultimate is like $14, $17 a month. If Steam was like, hey, $20 a month, but here's like half of the entire existence of Steam, download all you like.
Right.
That would destroy. That would absolutely destroy.
I think it would be a big competitor. I think that the problem Steam is always going to have is that their AAA games can be got anywhere. Like, you can get their AAA games through anything, through any medium other than them.
Oh, so you mean Steam doesn't have any real AAA exclusives?
They don't. And while I hate exclusives, and I'm going to say this again to everybody, I hate exclusives. At the same time, exclusives, like, Like Steam, I think Steam's library, like Steam's weapon is its library. That's what its weapon is, because it has the largest library of video games on the planet at its disposal for a storefront. Correct? Like, I think we can both agree on that. Like, it just does. It does. It's bigger than Epic's, barely. I mean, Epic has a lot of stuff on it, but it has just the biggest. It's got access to basically every third-party game ever made, basically. I think what they should do to combat it is what they is not necessarily use exclusives. I think what they should do is, here's Steam Pass. Here's our huge library. Not necessarily all the games, but a huge chunk of them. And in addition, every month we're going to offer you a few AAA exclusives. Not exclusives, a few AAA games that you can play on Steam Pass for free. And now, even though this game is a AAA game you can buy through Epic and you can get through Microsoft, people will stay with Steam because they want to be on Steam because it's the best thing. All you have to do is offer them that AAA experience right up front, and then rotate it out like you want. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And not necessarily have exclusives, but you need that AAA firepower of some sort to combat what Xbox and Epic have, which is just exclusives, really. I mean, Microsoft has the pass. You need to combat the pass with that, but the exclusives are for the other ones. I don't know. I think it's interesting. I mean, I don't really see any other challengers out there waiting to try and take the throne either, personally. I mean, GOG sucks.
I was about to say, I mean, the only other one that we haven't mentioned is GOG. And honestly, I literally don't even know what GOG looks like from a storefront. I know it exists.
It's big in China. I know that.
That's literally all I know.
I mean, there's Blizz.net, but they just have Blizzard stuff, Blizzard and Activision stuff, from what I understand. And then there's, I mean, they've got a couple of games outside that, but for the most part, it's just Blizzard and Activision stuff, I'm pretty sure. And then you've got the Ubisoft Connect, but that's just for Ubisoft stuff. And Ubisoft can kind of get away with that because they're such a big company that they have so many games that they can kind of do that. But still, it's just Ubisoft games, you know? Right. And EA Play is in Microsoft now. And I would not be surprised if Microsoft is not out there working real hard to get Ubisoft Connect and Games Pass.
That would be wild.
That would be the best move. Then they're really talking about taking market shares away from other people. If you get Games Pass and you get access to all Ubisoft games and all of EA games and all Microsoft games, well, now we're talking a definite contender to the throne,
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I don't know. Is there anything you want to add to this talking point, or you want to go to odds and ends and actually have a show end on time? That's hilarious. We can go ahead and move along.
I didn't have that much to input to this because I still only, though this is a complete weird aside, since I got this PC, I have the Steam app on my phone, and I've been still just looking at it, and just I'll wish list something, and it's oh, hey, something that you wish listed goes up, and
they have such good sales.
That's the thing. I hadn't bought Undertale on PC yet, so I wish listed it, and it's on sale. It was on sale for $2.
Yeah.
$2.
Dude, their sales are amazing.
I do believe I will, and I did.
I mean, it's same with me. I mean, Steam is still, and I guess we could talk about the Steam benefits for a second, since we've been kind of talking about possible rivals to Steam, but just not how good Steam is. Steam is great, and their sales, they always have good sales going. The Skyrim Anniversary Collection, my review, if you're watching this, my review for the Anniversary Update will have come out the Monday of this week. And I got it for $30. Is marketed deplorably for $50, but it was 40% off on a holiday sale. I got 2 games that I'm so excited to play with my wife for $5.99 and $2.99 for Preludes. I got Pocket Dungeon for $15. The sales in that that thing are amazing. And every day you can go onto Steam, and there's at least 20 games on sale. 10 to 50% off, and that's just awesome.
Yeah, Ultra Street Fighter 4. That is not 5.
Mm-hmm.
Ultra Street Fighter 4 was the first game that I bought on Steam. And it was normally like $30. It's been out for a while and it's been like re-released. The Street Fighter 4 has been re-released like a million times. I got it for $4. Four whole dollars. You cannot beat that. You can't even go to GameStop and get it for $4.
Right.
It's wild.
Right now, I just decided to bring up my Steam store since we're talking. Right now, It Takes Two is 50% off for $20. Bravely Default 2 is 30% off for $42. Moonlighter, and I'm saying this for you because you need to play this game, Neil. You need to play it. I've been telling you to play it for like a fucking year and a half.
I know you have, and I had downloaded it, and I just never...
It's good, and you would love it. It's a very Neil game. But that one is 75% off, only $5. Like, they have great sales on Steam. Just great sales. So, yeah. I mean, I don't know. Steam is a beast. Epic can suck my dick, though. Because, seriously, like, I have $42 in Steam money on my account right now. I have plenty of little kickies in my phone and stuff to be able to use for gift cards, and there is not a gift card I can purchase with this. So no matter what I do for sales, I will literally have to buy Sifu for full price, and I will have to buy Tiny Tina's Wonderlands for full price, which is so frustrating.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to odds and ends then, man.
Sure.
Horrible Gaming Podcast.
All right, so that brings us to our final segment, odds and ends. That's where me and Neil collect some smaller stories, don't necessarily deserve a talking point, and just stuff we want to tell you guys about, maybe riff about, talk to you guys about. So today I have 4. Neil has 4. Neil's going to start us off. Go for it, Neil.
Alrighty, well, Sony has given us a tease of the PSVR 2. The headset is going to have 2 4K HDR displays to look at, one for each eye, that run at 120 hertz refresh, as well as eye tracking and haptic feedback built into the headset, as well as 3D spatial audio. Apparently, it is due out by the end of this year, and at that time, they also announced they are making a new Horizon game as well for it.
Oh, shit.
Called Horizon Call of the Mountain. Mm-hmm. No other real details have been made available other than you will not be playing as Aloy in this game.
I no longer have 4.
Well,
you got mine. We haven't matched ones on for a while, but you definitely got one of mine there.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I was actually going to use it to talk about how last week you were like, I hope Guerrilla doesn't throw all their money at this, and then they're already making a side story.
It's already what they're doing. I mean, the only thing that I'm like, oh, it's a VR quote unquote game, because let's be real, a lot of the VR games out there, with the exception of like one of them, are not real games.
Right.
They're all just like, here you stand in a single spot and teleport around and do the stuff standing still.
There's a couple, but a lot of them are ports that make you very sick to your stomach, like the Borderlands one and the Skyrim one. Like those are actually the games, but prepare for motion sickness.
Yeah, I mean, from what I remember of whenever I played the OG Quest a couple years back, it is very barfy. But at the same time, you know, the technology is evolving and getting better. So maybe we're getting there.
We'll see.
We're not completely there, but we are making progress to being there.
Look, I don't want to get on a sidetrack, but the problem with VR has and will be the same as it always has been, and that is there's a thing in your brain. There's a thing in your brain that tells you when you're moving, okay? That thing is directly connected to you moving forward and seeing yourself moving forward. When you detract yourself of all senses of the real world and put yourself into a VR headset, you convince your brain that you're then moving, but you're not moving your legs. You will get sick every time. It's going to happen. And I think until they fix that problem, you can never really play VR for more than like an hour, maybe 2, without getting sick to your stomach. That's not a viable game system. I mean, and I know that sounds crazy, but like real gaming nowadays is not, hey, I'm going to play for 15 minutes. Real gaming nowadays is a 2-hour to 4-hour session. I mean, we're right about that, right?
Yeah.
That's how gaming is. It just is. If you're going to start a video game, you need a couple of hours. With VR, you're never going to be able to play that session. You're never going to be able. You then add in the spatial requirements, you know, that kind of stuff, the price. It's just not a viable way to game right now, and it's never going to be there until they solve that problem. And I don't know how they solve that problem without charging you more money for some insane, like, treadmill thing, you know?
Right.
Yeah. All right, so should I do mine now?
Yeah.
All right. So which one should I go with first? I'm going to go with this one. I'll go with tech here. I'll go with tech. Start with tech. So, Samsung, out of nowhere, seems to be beating people to the punch on the TV optimized for gaming sort of situation. The Samsung Gaming Hub boasts that you will be able to play video games directly through the TV, that it will hook up to kind of like a Fire Stick or whatever, and that it will hook up directly to your gaming systems like Steam and stuff and stream the game directly to your TV. And it will also have like controller support via Bluetooth and stuff like that. Very interesting stuff there. Really interesting stuff there.
Yeah. Was this at CES?
Mm-hmm. Yep. It was at CES. That show where they told you all the things that are never going to come out because they don't have enough chips.
Yeah, that one. Yeah. Absolutely that one right there.
Right? That one. So yeah, but still, that's interesting because we've been talking about stuff like that for a while. That streaming is kind of finally getting to a place where it could be potentially viable with like Project xCloud and stuff. And we've been expecting for like a stick to come out from Microsoft for a while or be announced, or a stick through Amazon to come out or be announced. But Samsung TV out of nowhere is like, you just buy this TV and you can play video games on it. Done. You know, so I think that's interesting, personally.
Yeah, definitely. I just hope we have the internet infrastructure to be able to make that happen.
Oh, no, we're not going to have any infrastructure whatsoever in like 10 years. Like, no. It's wonderful. It's wonderful. Get your fucking doomsday bunkers ready, ladies and gentlemen. Right. Got real dark there for a second.
Yes, it did. So, to kind of lighten it back up, this one's short, sweet, and to the point. Apparently, Shaq gave out 1,000 Switches and 1,000 PS5s to kids on Christmas.
Okay, can I tell you my problem with this?
Oh, God. Why do you have a problem with this?
I know. I didn't at first. Okay, so hear out my logic for this. At first, I was thinking to myself, man, this is really nice. He handed out all these systems that nobody could get their hands on for Christmas. That's wonderful. And then I thought to myself, how did he get these fucking systems? And how did he get these systems and then hand them out so that people couldn't buy? Because we're at a shortage. How did he hoard these systems in the first place? Like, so it just pissed me off. I'm like, are you using bot Shaq to buy them? You're a fucking scalper, but instead you're using it for PR. See? I can take anything and make it terrible. Anything.
I mean, I guess technically, if you want to get technical, I suppose he could have done this thing. Here's
my thing. Whether he did it with bots or not, there are plenty of parents of kids who wanted to get their kid a video game system for Christmas, and they could not because Shaq decided in his infinite narcissism to buy a bunch of them up and give them to kids himself. I am not wrong there. I am not wrong there. You cannot argue with that logic. You cannot argue with that logic.
I get it, but at the same time, like, less fortunate kids getting stuff, if you're mad at that.
I'm not necessarily mad at that, but just the fact that he did that kept people from getting them, in a way, you know?
Yeah, no, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, okay.
I see what you're saying.
All right,
but
that's all I care about.
Yeah.
I just want you to see what I'm saying. Once it's done, I'm like, I win. I'm going to move on. If somebody can see the logic in my random thoughts, then I've won. All right, so my next one, I only have positive ones from here on out, man.
Wow.
Yeah, there you go. Only positives. I mean, I only have 2 left, but I only have positives. All right, number 1. Rainbow Six Extraction? Or is it Rainbow Six Siege Extraction? I can't fucking remember. Rainbow Six Extraction, which is a new co-op shooter thing that has been coming out for like 2 years from Ubisoft. It's actually going into Games Pass day 1. Smart move, guys. Smart move. Because a lot of people were really worried about this game anyway. It was slowly becoming less and less relevant. And to put it into Games Pass, people are going to get to play it right off the bat. You're going to get a player bump right off the bat. Good move. But yeah, day 1, it's going into Xbox Game Pass, which actually dovetails a little bit into my tinfoil hat, they want to get Ubisoft in Games Pass theory.
See that, but a single game, I don't think single game would. I think that is more a testament to they tried and Ubisoft was like, nah, but you can have this.
I think negotiations are ongoing. I think they were like, no, I don't think so. Why don't you have this? And then they were like, yeah, let's have this, but why don't we have another meeting? You know what I mean? I think they're very persistent.
They're playing hard to get. Yeah, that's what your feeling is.
Exactly. I don't think Ubisoft is ever going to give them their entire library. Let me be very clear. But I think Ubisoft would be very amiable, especially given their current market situation, which is not great. I mean, Ubisoft has been a powerhouse up until last year. Last year, they released almost no games. Almost everything they had got delayed. They are embroiled in sex scandals, and they kind of need a win. They don't have a ton of stuff coming out anymore. I think it would behoove them to be like, okay, you can have all the Assassin's Creeds, something like that would be not just a win for Xbox, but it would be a win for Ubisoft, and Ubisoft greatly needs a win. I
would say so.
You may do your next one now.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you for allowing me. I appreciate it. So we're going to do a really weird
Never mind, you can't. Fuck you.
Oh.
No, I'm kidding. Go for it.
So this one is really weird. The Pope, the Pope, as you may know him, watched a circus performance featuring music from Undertale.
I purposely didn't put it on mine because I figured you'd see this.
I can't describe how weird this was. So apparently, I believe it was, I had to do a little bit of research on this. I guess it's once a month, the Pope entertains groups who make the pilgrimage out to the Vatican.
Okay.
And a group rather, made the pilgrimage out there, and they just did a brief circus act to Megalovania from Undertale. And it was also at that point that I found out that YouTuber MatPat has met the Pope and gave him a copy of Undertale.
That's weird.
So, weird. It's really weird.
That's weird.
And if you guys look up the video, Zach, I don't know if you saw the video of it. It's so strange. It's just the people juggling things and doing balancing with
I haven't seen the video.
A ska rendition of Megalovania with the Pope sitting in a huge chair just staring into the middle distance, so disinterested.
That's how the Pope watches everything, though. In fairness, I've never seen a Pope be like, "Yeah, fuck yeah!" Like they're never gonna clap and whoop. We're never gonna get a "This is awesome" chant from the Pope. It's just he's always standing and staring into the middle distance. So he might have really liked it.
Maybe he did. Maybe he did. Or maybe he fell asleep with his eyes open.
That's possible. Maybe that's just a technique you get when you, like, become Pope. Like, the minute you get to be Pope, you learn from the old Pope. Like, the Pope comes in and be like, "Let me show you the art of to sleep with the eyes open." That's the worst Pope. I don't know what Pope would sound like that.
I don't know what that was. I don't know.
I am a the Pope. I am a the Pope. I sleep with the eyes open. Yes.
Yeah, I think no.
I am the voice of God on earth. Yes. It's creepy.
All right. Well, with that blasphemy out of the way, what's your next one?
My next one is, hey, everybody. Has somehow, throughout your gaming career, you managed to not play Mass Effect? And when they remastered it as one giant trilogy as a game and it came out, did you say, I'm good? Or maybe you thought, I'm going to wait till I can get it for like $0. Well, today's your day, my friend, because Mass Effect Legendary Edition has entered Game Pass. Another huge win for Game Pass. And I tell you, man, what's crazy about this news is I was sitting on my couch the day it came out, about 2 hours before it came out, and I wasn't sitting on the couch. I was shitting. I mean, I'll be honest, but I was trying to make it nicer.
At least you weren't shitting on the couch.
I wasn't shitting on the couch. No, I was in the toilet. I was just thinking to myself, man, Game Pass has not announced what's coming out for January in Game Pass. Usually they've announced it by now. And I wonder what they're going to do. They kind of need a big one, I think. I mean, they've had a big one substantially through every month, basically. So I wonder what they're going to do. Well, Mass Effect Legendary Edition, Game Pass, and it's out now. It's on Game Pass right now. I don't know if I'm going to play this because I think we had this discussion when it was coming out. Like, I've played Mass Effect 4 times. I don't see any reason to play Mass Effect anymore. Like, I've been through it with a woman. I've been through it with a boy. I've been through good. I've been through bad. Like, I don't know. I don't see another reason to go through it. But yeah, if you do, now's your time. Now's your time, man.
We did talk about it because that's where the cake analogy originated from.
Oh, fucking A. How did the cake come from that?
It was getting delayed, and we knew it was a thing for years, but it never came out.
I need to go through and just put a compilation of all the times we talked about cake together. It'd be so much work, but if we were big enough to have an editor, I would just put a peon on it, but we're not, and I don't have the time.
Alrighty, so my last one, this one here, we actually could have possibly spun this off into a talking point, but we'll cover it here. That way we might go a little bit into it. So, do you remember Jeff Ross at all? Remember us talking about Jeff Ross? Now,
Jeff Ross.
Yeah, Jeff Ross. Now, the name sounds very, it was a name that you wouldn't really remember.
Like the comedian?
No. This was the director of Days Gone.
Oh, this
the guy who pitched a fit about how his game was treated by Sony.
I'm so upset about this. I know what you're going to talk about. I have a good rant about it. Go for it. So, let's do this. Let's fucking get into shit.
So Sucker Punch just recently announced that the Ghost of Tsushima has sold 8 million copies. Now, why is this important? Well, that's apparently the same amount of copies in the same amount of time that Days Gone has sold. So as a result, Ross emerged from his hole onto Twitter to complain yet again, saying that the warm reception that Ghost of Tsushima got as opposed to Days Gone was just so horrible and terrible, and he was slighted, and games journalism doesn't know what they're talking about. My game was really good. The other games, it's just as good as anything else. I don't understand why Sony hated me, blah, blah, blah. I haven't looked at any of the actual tweets, but...
I've seen some of them. I'm glad you're bringing this up.
Yeah.
Rage.
This guy, like, bro, it was already bad enough the first time around. I get it. Like, you know, you can sell the same amount, but, like, if you're it's all based off of expectations. Mm-hmm. If you expect to sell 8 million... and you sell 8 million, you are 100%, that is amazing. If you have these high-ass, lofty-ass expectations for what you're going to sell, and it doesn't come, you know, if you're expecting 80 million or something crazy, and you only sell 8 million, you need to lower your expectations. But at the same time, you have to consider what it is that you're making, the fact that Days Gone was delayed a bajillion times, and in the end, it was not a great product. Now, Ghost of Tsushima, I own Ghost of Tsushima. I have not attempted to play it, but it did get reviewed better than Days Gone did. And if I remember correctly, wasn't it a Game of the Year contender? In, what was it? 2020, 2019, one of those two.
Yeah.
So, like, it very clearly, one game was better than the other. And because you didn't like that someone, well, more than just one someone, a large collective of someones did not like what you gave them, it is not their fault that they did not like it. Maybe, just maybe, it is your fault you did not produce a good product.
Well, I'm sorry, you're done. Can I rant?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. I want to add to this. And you've touched on just about everything I'm going to get into depth with, but I do want to add that there is a difference with, your game sold as much because your game was hyped. But your game was hyped way more than Ghost of Tsushima. We heard about Ghost of Tsushima for like a year before it came out, and then it came out and it was great. Your game delayed 3 times, you hyped the fuck out of it, and then when it came out, of course everyone went to buy it because they were overhyped about it. But you also live in PlayStation, which is an ecosystem notorious for not giving refunds and not giving money back to people. You sold 8 million copies because people went out, impulse bought it, got it home, and then they fucking hated it. And that's why PlayStation doesn't like you, because you sold as many copies, possibly even more, but your game was broken as shit, and now everybody who is playing it thinks that you and PlayStation screwed them over, whereas the Ghost of Tsushima buyers love it and love PlayStation. That's why PlayStation likes Ghost of Tsushima and not fucking you. Plus, every time somebody puts a mic in front of your face, you can't stop bitching about people saying your game is trash. And I hate to tell you, Jeff Ross, your fucking game is trash. Period. End of story. You fucking tool, man. And can I just say, whoever is working at their company, and I cannot remember their company's name, whoever is working in their company, why the fuck aren't you tackling this motherfucker every time a piece of news comes out? Why haven't you taken his phone away from him? Like, seriously, somebody put a fucking muzzle on this guy. And the amount of entitlement that this guy has and the amount of backlash that he's had for people not liking him is ridiculous. Instead of taking the comments and trying to do better, you have decided to blame the people enjoying the product or not enjoying the product. Shame on you, sir. Shame on you. Fucking tool.
Yeah, I'm looking right now. Yeah, no, I'm looking at his Twitter right now, trying to find, and he's complaining. At the time I left Sony, Days Gone had been out for a year and a half and a month and sold over 8 million copies. It's since gone on to sell more than 1 million plus on Steam. Local studio management always made us feel like it was such a big disappointment. And he shared the Game Informer link saying about Ghost of Tsushima passing 8 million copies. Bro, just leave it be, dude.
Well, and what bothers me too is how fucking stupid are you that you think that your measurement for disappointment is money. Like, that's your measurement of disappointment. It's copies sold. That's it. I'm outraged that it was a like, there's no other reason your game could be a disappointment, especially in an ecosystem notorious for not giving refunds. Do you think if PlayStation gave refunds made refunds readily available, that it would still be 8 million copies sold of fucking Days Gone? No! Not even! Definitely not in the same amount of time that Tsushima did it, because they would have asked for a refund because it's a broken, shitty game in the beginning, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I've talked about it before. I ended up getting Days Gone for free. 100% free. Both Kayla and myself tried to get through the opening motorcycle chase scene with bad motorcycle controls. And the second that you hit anything at all with these bad controls, you crash and have to start over.
Right.
Neither she nor I could get any further than like 5 minutes into this. We literally did not finish seeing the opening credits ever. Because everyone's, once you get through that, it gets like, it gets better, this, that, and the other thing. No. The notion of, hey, you have to stick with this thing that's really bad right now that eventually it gets better, that almost sounds like Stockholm Syndrome.
Yeah. And that's a big problem I have too. Like I don't think anybody should have to stick with a game if they don't like it, you know?
Yeah, and like I get that there's something to that whole, hey, stick with it for a minute because it gets better, you know, because there's this one bad part.
Right.
But from there, once you get past that, it's still bad controls overall.
Right.
It's still bad game design overall.
Right.
It doesn't handle well. It's glitchy as shit. Like,
yep.
Yeah, okay, so it doesn't get better. You just get more used to the bad.
Right. Yeah.
So it's like, yeah.
So
it's shameful. I'm sure.
Fuck that guy. Like,
I'm sure the next Sony something that comes out that, you know, in the same amount of time sells what he's sold, he's going to emerge again to bark at the moon and then go away again.
Yeah, it's very frustrating. You can't blame people for not liking a product. Like, you can't. Especially in an industry that's notorious for not giving out refunds, because people feel even more gypped when they drop $50 to $60 on that new thing that they can't return. You know, like, that's pretty fucking huge, you know? And that's going to make people even madder at you. That's why you're a disappointment. It has nothing to do with copies sold. It has to do with the bugs and the crap in your game. Whereas Ghost of Tsushima is a smooth playthrough front to back, you know? And they never delayed it. They set a release date and released it. Like, I don't know. All right. Was that your last odds and end?
That was.
Nice -1 to end it off. All right, let's go to the plugs and end this fucker on time for once.
Yar.
Horrible Gaming Podcast.
All right, so that brings us to the end of the show and the shameless self-promotion that comes with it. Neil, you got anything special you want to talk about this week?
Well, I wouldn't say anything special, just the usual. Halo Infinite Road is still going along here. And I want to say at this point, we're roughly halfway, if not a smidge over halfway through playing through Reach. And yes, it is a grand old time. And then from there, we'll move on to Halo 4. And we'll be finishing off with Halo 4. I think we've talked about this in the past. We don't really have plans to do Halo 5 strictly because the bulk of this gets done on PC. That said, if game streaming does end up coming to PC, I think we would have to come back and do Halo 5.
That's fair. I'd do that. I'd do it.
But
I'm not doing Infinite. Boycott Infinite.
I know you're not doing Infinite. That's fine.
Nope. I am a man of my word, sir. And my word is boycott Halo. So I will not be doing Halo Infinite.
Well, that's fine.
My wife calls me a hypocrite just for continuing to do this show. So
she's technically not wrong.
No,
but
she really isn't. My wife is never wrong. That's something I learned a long time ago.
And you, sir, are a wise man. So, outside of that, I'll turn it back over to you.
Oh, pluggies. OMGW, we're trying to wrap up season 3. We had a lot of delays here and there, but we seem to be back on track without stopping until the end. We're almost to immortality, which I'm very excited about. Getting through this of the 3rd season. Of course, Halo Infinite, that's great. Please check out Prelude to Divorce. We did Shovel Knight Pocket Dungeon for 2. My wife was very upset that day, so those episodes are a little bit rough in my opinion, but I have downloaded 2 games that are specifically designed to make her happy, so I'm very excited for the next 2. And then let me see, anything special? Oh, season finale of season 2 of the Stella Show will be releasing this Tuesday, and it is going to be Pokemon Snap, her first video game that she received from Santa Claus. Her first ever video game that she has ever owned. We do Pokemon Snap.
Oh, man. I love the OG Pokemon Snap.
Yeah. I gotta say, I'm probably going to do a review for this Pokemon Snap, and I am not happy with it. But it's the first game.
That's just unfortunate.
Well, I got it for the kid, and it doesn't... Like, a kid couldn't play this. Like, a kid her age couldn't play. Like, they could play it. Like, the actual gameplay is perfect for children, but there's so much other bullshit around it that you would need an adult present. Like, why is there a super storyline in here? Just let them take pictures of Pokemon. I don't understand why that's so hard, but it's like every 10 seconds there has to be a ton of epilogue exposition. A ton of exposition. Like, just let her take pictures of Pokemon, goddammit! Nonetheless, we do Pokemon Snap as her finale, and that's a lot of fun. So, yeah. And I know that I put this off. I know I was going to say it was going to come last week, but unfortunately, we had an issue with some footage, but it will come this week, and that will be the most recent video for my brother. Probably the last for a while, since he is doing live music right now, so he doesn't have a lot of time to record original compositions, but it's a really good song, really good video that is going to be out probably sometime this week. And then OMFD for January will be coming out this Saturday. So check that out. And of course, everybody, you can reach us by commenting below, or you can contact us on Facebook at OldManGamingDH, on Twitter at OldManGaming9. You can join our Discord. Link is in the description below. You can influence us in all of our shows from there. Also, check me out on Twitch when I get a chance. I do stream there, twitch.tv/OldManGamingDH. As usual, everybody, as long as you keep watching and you keep listening, we'll keep making them. See you guys next week. All right.
By the way, real quick, Kayla got that bank job.
Yay! Tell her congratulations. I'll message her congratulations. Yeah. That's amazing. It's so good to get out of a fucking restaurant, man.
Yeah, and I gotta say, like, my job, outside of what happened to me yesterday, so much better.
Now you can stab her if she ever goes back.
She would never go back. She got the phone call that she got the job, and she actively started crying. And it was like the cutest, sweetest thing, but I feel bad because I couldn't focus on it because I was in the middle of doing dishes right whenever that happened, and a huge sauce pot lid fell off the counter and exploded into a million tiny pieces. So I have shards of glass everywhere while I'm picking glass out of my feet, trying to clean this up. And she's on the phone with this person trying to get all this information. Crying, so happy. And I'm over here crying, bleeding all over the floor.
I'm so happy for you.
Yeah, trying to not just like scream, fuck goddamn son of a bitch shit.
Let me show you my happiness by reenacting Die Hard.